I don't care if this turns out to be longer than expected. If I ramble on for just a little bit, it's all right. I'm sure I'm probably going to ramble. Video log, start date. Which episode of Lost am I on? Or Survivor? Or Alone? I'm alone in my... Alone on my homestead. Or I think it's a farm now. I don't think it's a homestead anymore. We've reached that status of insanity. Now, today's episode of Crazy Train, today's episode, cue the intro. Welcome back to SOS. I'm Staff Sergeant Badass, and today I'm not going to tell you you're going to stay alive. Just kidding. Anyway, I brought some stuff. I have things for show and tell, but not that kind of show and tell. So, World War III. All right, I'm a trained Marine, and I know a few things, and a lot of folks will choose to argue with the things I know. And my wife is an ER nurse, and people love to argue with her too. So we do have knowledge a little bit between our ears, and the thing that I will say, this is from me. I've done several NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical type videos, and over the years, 8 years being on YouTube, and this is my third YouTube channel. Now, after being on here for so long, you'll run into all kinds of basement dwellers that come out, and keyboard warriors, and they'll argue with you to death. And before that stuff starts happening, just kind of save your comment for a little bit if you've got something. Now, it's possibly too late, but not. You can catch up. There is still time for a lot of you. You can't. I want to make this kind of a relief thought for some of you. I know a lot of you out there. Already have what I have. You're already all set. This is more for also those people a little bit, and then the other half is the people that are still catching up, because they finally realize now, oh my goodness, we are dwindling away. This, going back to what I've said before, like this OPEC thing. Now, not just the OPEC thing with the oil and everything. I already said there was going to be an oil crisis like years ago. No one believed me then, and they thought I was freaking being some kind of fearmonger or something. Oh, look at this fearmonger. What happened? All right. Look at this fearmonger again. Look what else happened. So all these little conspiracies that I've shared with you guys over the years, the possibilities, the what ifs and the should haves that will eat you alive, and there's just so much stuff. Now, like we had like ammo crisis. I told you guys about that. I got into reloading years ago. Gunsmith, did all that stuff. Now, the food crisis, got into food, did that, preparations for food. Some of you went even a step further than me. You have freeze-dried machines and all kinds of stuff. I don't have the kind of funding for that, but that's kind of a stiff prep right there. So that's a lot of money. But for those of you that have it, that's really cool. But there's so much stuff you can prep for. You can go with the doomsday scenarios, the guy wearing the ski mask, half naked, sitting on the back with a PA system. It can be any of those types. You're a road warrior. Start sitting down and going through some of these movies. I guess that's kind of what we're going to have to get used to. Got to make sure those shotgun shells still work. But that's beside the point. One more thing is that this strategic oil reserve thing. It's caught my attention. It was getting drained and drained and drained until it's down to nothing. Okay, so we've emptied that, and that was used to bring the prices down. Okay, got that. But this is all because I know this, but most people, gassing up every day probably don't even realize that, and then they think, well, This is great. But now, guess what's happening? It's going back up and up and up. And I told you, 2023 is going to be a nightmare. The price of everything's going up. All your types of your interest rates, I mean, they're already freaking out about that. So just keep that stuff in mind. And that's if we don't get blown up. Now, let's talk about nuclear winter. Let's talk about fallout. Let's talk about all the things that everyone wants to argue about. This is the one that I knew I'd get to my point here in a minute. I kind of ramble on. It's all right. Most of you already left. That's your IOSAT. Anyway, this brand here. When I was in the Marine Corps, I used to take classes. I had to take college courses actually on this stuff, and I had to share that amongst a crowd of people. And sometimes when I taught classes, I did teach a lot of classes while I was in. It'd be like 36 classes in a day, and just in one day teaching classes back to back to back. It's like, oh my goodness, I have another class to teach, as I had so many different things that I had knowledge on. So I got to share all that information. And this is your potassium iodide, something like that. Anyways, but sometimes the words come out iodine, and then you're like, you put the N on the end of it, and then it's a typo. So you don't want to do that. But anyways, I do that when I type, and my spell check corrects me. This has a national stock number and all kinds of stuff on it. But this is what that is. And this is one that you can get real easy. And someone asked me, one of you out there commented about this, and it has instructions if you buy this one. Now, this one's like $20 now. I don't know where else you can get it cheaper. This is for your thyroid. Your thyroid being, it controls all your bodily functions. And that's what gets screwed up from the fallout, the radiation and the fallout. And I had to explain this stuff. My son wanted to know this stuff. I had to explain like alpha, beta, and gamma radiation. Like one being like dust. That can be protected. You can wear a bandana over your face to protect yourself from that, and some freaking goggles. That people would assume now for biological and chemical, sometimes you want something a little bit heavy duty. You want something like this mask here. Now this is going to be something this is your M44, and it's, write that down, M44. Anyways, this is your canister, chemical, biological. That's what it says on it. Now keep that in mind. There is no canister that actually says this is for radiation. It doesn't say that. None of them say that. But it will stop particulates. An N95, the same mask that most people still wear today, will protect you from particles. And it won't protect you from viruses. Just throwing it out there. But that's because I went to school for that, and I know the difference. So it won't protect you from viruses. I already made people mad. It won't protect you from viruses, but it will protect you from particulates. Things that are in the air, up into the 95 percentile. Anyway, that's what the 95 stands for. If it's 100, then it's 100. So, but anyways, I've already taught that class too, but nobody cares. Usually people just get offended and they leave the room. They don't want to hear what I have to say. Anyways, but that's for your biological and chemical. M44 is a really nice canister. This thing can last like this forever. 5 years, give or take, something like that. Anything 5 years, there's no expiration. Keep that in mind. If it says 5 years, that means it doesn't expire. This was already, as long as it's in good, clean state, it's good to go. Always remember that stuff. And I always try to scare the crap out of you. I got hoods. Thanks to a buddy of mine. He sent me a hood. This is gas mask for kids. This is your Israeli gas mask. This has your feeding tube and everything. And you have a feeding tube in here. Comes with that. You can get these on eBay all day long. Now, don't look to Amazon to buy stuff like this. You're going to want to go to like eBay or something. But there's plenty of places out there who have these exact ones. These are the ones I recommend to keep you alive. If you plan on wandering around outside and that stuff. Extra protection, you're going to want one of these and one of these. This is extra protection. because you don't know what else is going on out there. But these pills, your potassium, it's a thyroid blocking, in the radiation emergency only. That's what it says. So remember that. Now there's the KO3. You can write that one down too. KO3 pills. That's another brand. They're a little bit cheaper. There's a few other survival brands out there where you can get big bulk supplies of it. And you can get it in 65 milligrams. You can get it in 130 milligrams. I think this one is, I can't remember. It's 130 milligrams. I'm right. Anyways, but on the back here, it has your adults over 18 years of age, and it tells you how much to take. One tablet, the whole thing, has 130 milligrams. And if you've got a child, it would say if they're 150 pounds, they can take, if they're 150 pounds, if they're who's over 12 years old to 18 years old, 130 milligrams. And it says children, what's this one here? Their weight here. I'm trying to read that weight. Anyways, basically, as there's a table chart on the backside, as you were. Birth to 1 month, that's a 25 milligram. So that's, yeah, that's right. Anyway, is that right? Let's get the point there. It says 16.25. Anyways, so you have to measure that sucker out. But anyways, literally you can break the pill in half and give it to someone that's like 12 or younger than 12. You would break the pill in half. So anyone younger than that, you're going to have to break it down even more. But the chart's on the back. You just got to follow the instructions. But there's that. Now, I'm just assuming that it's getting to that point, the insanity, and because there was this stockpile surge. I know my wife says that at the hospital they keep a supply of that type of stuff on hand for emergency radiation, emergency nuclear type ordeal. They call it certain things, but now there's a new shot they're getting ready to give all their troops, and it's something new that they're doing for that. It's a little pricey, and I think they're doing it because something's coming. And I don't think they would spend that kind of money in preparation this soon if it wasn't the case. I think this is the case, so that's probably why they're doing it. And that's what I would be paying attention to, because if it's coming, it's coming. So it's better late than never that you get what you need. And just don't spend too much for it. You know what I mean? I hate to get people worked up and doing a little fear-mongering thing. There's a lot of stuff I prepared for, and a lot of you did too. And you shouldn't sit around worried and living in fear. The gas prices are coming back. The cost of everything's going up. Things are running out. There's a lot of stuff expiring. I've already mentioned that before, but it's happening worse than ever before. I was just recently at the store, and I saw that like they had to empty out the entire milk shelf and everything, like sour cream, all that stuff, any type of dairy product. It was gone. They took them out because they're not getting the stuff fast enough. The stuff's expiring as soon as it gets there. It's just a mess. It is a real mess. And it's only going to get worse, but the price for everything's going to go way up. But if it is going to happen, I would make sure you're prepared for it. You want to make sure you get the size mask if you're going to get one for your face. You're going to make sure that your face is shaved, so you're going to want to do that. So just, if you don't want to shave right now, just make sure you have that stuff ready like I do. I stay prepared for that stuff. If I need to do it, I can just do it, and it won't take me but a matter of minutes to do it. Like I said, I shaved my head and face for several years. I can handle it. Like if most average faces are a medium, so if you're a young scrapping teenager, you're probably about a medium. If you're that's if you're a male. If you're a female, it's going to be a small. If you're an older female, you're probably going to want about a medium. But you try it on first just to make sure, just to check to see if you've got any scarring. I used to teach these classes, so If you've got any scarring, like a scar across your face, it might break the seal. So just make sure you're aware of that. If you do have a problem with the seal, you might just need a larger mask or a mask that covers that up. But there are alternatives for that as well. If you've got something weird going on your face there, you could use Vaseline. Just layer just a little smear of Vaseline there, and then put the mask back on and see if you can get a seal. That might help push and mold those spots for you but you want all the air exiting and entering through your mouth and nose right here in the front. You don't want anything coming in from the sides or over the head or anything. So if your hair's a bit long and it's kind of draped over your face, make sure you slick that stuff back and then slap that mask on. I'm pretty sure you're not going to be doing anything where it's like gas. So it's not going to be real fast. So it's going to be something that it's time. You'll have a little bit of time for it. The scenarios of things, a nuclear weapon, say tactical nuke or just a freaking nuke, for example, hitting into this atmosphere. There's different stages of it. There's like the air burst that usually causes an EMP. And I want to share something with you probably tomorrow about EMPs. I think you guys will like. But a tactical nuke, say whatever, air burst will cause an EMP, electronics, blah, 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 shut down. And I'll give a little class on that one tomorrow. I think people need to be aware of it. Then your the fallout type situation, you end up with a strike, and it depends on the area that it strikes. You may survive that, right? And then you have to worry about the fallout from that radiation and radiation sickness. And that first 30 days, you're probably going to want to take these pills. This is what you're going to want for those first 30 days at least. Get through that and you should be okay. But that's during the fallout, when the fallout comes. Now, you won't have to worry about your larger size radiation as much, but your particulates you're going to be worried about. But there's nothing you can do about gamma, things like that. Certain things you're not going to be able to do anything about. You just have to deal with it. But there's just 3 different sizes of radiation for alpha, beta, and gamma. Now, doesn't matter, hits the ground, hits the air, whatever. You still got to deal with it one way or another. It's still going to have some. It's going to have some repercussions. Your nuclear winter will happen within the first 3 months. And that's going to last about 12 months. So you're going to get hit. You're going to have some hardcore radiation for about 3 months. First month, you're going to want to take those pills, or you can stretch it for 90 days. I know some folks recommend 90 days, and some folks just recommend doing the 30-day at first. But you've got all that stuff in the nuclear winter, and then it kills off all of the wildlife. So cattle, everything's done because they can't adapt to that that change of environment. So fish are going to die. It's going to be like 90%, probably like 90% of all animals and wildlife are going to die. And so you've got to deal with that. And then if you're planning on planting and growing anything afterwards, if you can, you've got a layer of soil you got to remove. And the wife was asking me the other day, do you remember how many inches it was? I remember it was a lot. It was like the first 8 inches or 6 inches or something like that. It was quite a bit, and I'll have to look in my book for that one. I can't remember the exact amount you got to remove of topsoil to grow again. But I swear the best scenario for most of this stuff is like the movie Jericho. They really went through a lot for that. But that's just, it has all the scenarios. So you don't want to get too wrapped up in that. It kind of takes you through a long rabbit hole. Now, but getting through all that stuff, you want to make sure you've got plenty of food and plenty of water stored to get you through that first 12 months. That first 12 months is going to be epic. So you've got to have at least a stockpile of 1 year to 2 years on hand. And then you want to make sure that you have what you need to keep that. You've got to worry about marauders, people trying to trick you, people trying to persuade you into giving you stuff. You can't just give people handouts. You're going to end up giving everybody a handout. It's good to be nice and love your neighbors, but to a certain extent, because you could be ending up in, you might not be able to help everybody. So you got to keep that in mind. But the signs are showing, and it's not looking good. And I guess this is just kind of like your reminder. I'm just giving you a little reminder. I have other stuff I need to talk about later. But anyways, this is me stopping by to say hello, and this is your reminder. All right. God bless you guys. Take care. Rainbows and unicorns. God bless.